This week I tried out the new Panasonic S1RII camera, and hearing about the audio problems, I also bought the DMW XLR2 adapter. However, recordings of music had a distinct lack of bass, so I ran some laboratory tests on the mic preamps. The line input of the camera body is rolled off as well, and the mic input was unmeasurable due to too much noise. Next, I checked the DMW XLR2 adapter, and at 48 kHz with the wind filter turned off, this was the frequency response I got. I was shocked that it was also rolled off on the high end. This was unacceptable for recording music. And then I checked the mini phone jack input and found it didn't have the high frequency roll off at 48 kHz, but it did have the bass roll off. And then finally, I checked at 96 kHz with the XLR mic input. Still had the bass roll off, but the high frequencies were flat to 20K. This is not an acceptable frequency response in the year 2025, when Sony cameras have had a flat frequency response since 2017 or earlier. If we take a look at what was recorded to the actual CF card, we find that the results are slightly different. At 48 kHz sample, we don't see the high frequency roll-off that we saw from the headphone jack. We still see the low frequency roll-off. Period. We are looking at the XLR input on the left and the stereo mic input on the right. You can see that the progressions are somewhat linear, not indicating a capacitor roll-off, but more like a digital DSP roll-off. So I think this is a software issue. Now if we look at a linear sweep, this spends more time sweeping the higher frequencies, so we can see that indeed the high frequency response is flat to 20 kHz. So the roll-off that we saw on the earlier sweeps from the headphone jack was implemented by software in the headphones, presumably to force the user to consider using the 96 kHz frequency, because the 96 kHz frequency doesn't roll off the high response in the headphone output. So it's apparent that the XLR is about 6 dB down and the stereo mic input is 12 dB down at 20 Hz.